Hello everyone, my greetings to one and all. This is the fifth session on indifference curve analysis. In the previous session, you have understood about the consumer's preferences. So this session focuses on the diagrammatic presentation of consumers' preferences through indifference curves. So let's understand. Here one can observe different preferences of a consumer of two goods consumed in different combinations. All these combinations give equal level of satisfaction to the consumer, and as they are shown in a tabular presentation, it is called as indifference schedule, and the combinations taken together is called indifference set. This tabular presentation can be shown graphically by taking units consumed of good A on x-axis and units consumed of good B on y-axis. And the points can be then plotted and you get point A, B, C, D, and E, which are same as these combinations. By joining these points, one gets a curve which is downward sloping and is called as indifference curve. So it shows all different consumption possibilities that yield the same level of satisfaction to the consumer and have same rank in preference ordering. So one can observe that indifference curve is a curve that slopes downwards, implying that more of one good is possible only by sacrificing the other good so that the level of satisfaction remains same. This is given by marginal rate of substitution, that is, amount of y he is willing to sacrifice for 1 unit of good x. So one can notice that indifference curve is convex to the origin, and it is due to the diminishing marginal rate of substitution. That is, the consumer has to give up some units of one good in order to have more units of the other good. Let us understand the concept of marginal rate of substitution. There are two goods x and y which are not perfect substitute of each other. The consumer is prepared to exchange good x for y. In order to study the behavior of the consumer as to how he prefers one commodity to another and maintains the same level of satisfaction, marginal rate of substitution is an important concept. It measures the number of units of y that must be sacrificed for units of x gained to maintain the constant level of satisfaction. Let's understand this with the help of a numerical example. Now various combinations, various units of commodity x and commodity y are given. One can find marginal rate of substitution. Combination A is 1 unit of commodity x and 15 units of commodity y gives some level of satisfaction to the consumer. For this, marginal rate of substitution cannot be defined. Combination B is to have one additional unit of good x. Some units of good y needs to be sacrificed, and the units sacrificed are 5. That is delta y by delta x. Delta y is 5, delta x is 1. For combination C, in order to have one more unit of x, few more units of y needs to be sacrificed. And the amount of units sacrificed is 4. 10 minus 6 divided by 3 minus 2. In the similar manner, marginal rate of substitution can be found for rest of the combinations. Now this can be shown diagrammatically by taking into account good x on x-axis, good y on y-axis, and the points can be plotted. By plotting these points and joining them, one gets downward sloping, convex shaped indifference curve. A movement from point A to point B implies a sacrifice of 5 units of y to get 1 additional unit of x. A movement from point B to point C implies a sacrifice of 4 units of y to get an additional 1 unit of x. A movement from point C to point D implies a sacrifice of 3 units of y to get 1 additional unit of x. And a movement from D to E implies a sacrifice of 2 units of y to get 1 additional unit of x. One can notice that with each additional unit of x, less and less units of y are given up. The consumer's intensity of desire for x diminishes, and intensity of desire for good y tends to rise. Hence, consumer is willing to give up less and less of y. So to conclude, sacrificing of y for x falls due to diminishing marginal rate of substitution, which explains the convexity of indifference curve. Now, assess yourself and identify whether the following statement is true or false. Marginal rate of substitution remains same along the indifference curve. Please check your answer. This is a false statement, as marginal rate of substitution diminishes along the same indifference curve. It is so because the consumer is willing to sacrifice less and less units of good y to get each additional unit of good x. I hope you have understood the diagrammatic presentation of consumers' preferences through indifference curve. I am sure you are clear about its slope and its shape. With this, the session comes to an end. The next session focuses on indifference map. Till then, keep reading and keep practicing.